Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, June the 16th, around 11 a.m. And this weekend, I'll be finishing the Carolina Lookout Tower Challenge and South Beyond 6,000 Foot Challenge, unless something goes horribly wrong. Later in the afternoon, I'll be doing the short hike to Barnett Knob Lookout Tower, which is above Cherokee, North Carolina. That will be number 23 out of 24 on the list. And then tomorrow, I'll be hiking to Clingman's Dome from Newfound Gap, which will wrap it all up. Before doing Barnett Knob, I thought I'd do another longer hike in the area. So I drove up Heintooga Ridge Rd from the Blue Ridge Parkway into the southeast quadrant of Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I parked at Poles Gap, and I'm hiking the Hemphill Bald Trail out to Hemphill Bald. This follows the western Cataloochee Divide, generally above 5,000 feet, and is a pretty easy trail, even though it's 4.4 miles out to Hemphill Bald. From there, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm not going to turn around. I may just continue on the Hemphill Bald Trail and Cataloochee Divide Trail to the Swag and Purchase Gap, which also have really good views, depending on the weather, certainly. Currently, it's partly cloudy with blue skies. There's a slight chance of thunderstorms later in the afternoon, but if the weather's like this, I'm going to keep going and see all the views I can before turning around. I can also drop into Caldwell Fork to see the giant tulip poplars, but that's a longer and harder hike of around 13 miles, and plus I have to drop almost 2,000 feet down to Caldwell Fork. Tomorrow, I'm very excited to finish this up, but for now, I'm just enjoying the Cataloochee Divide. It's my first time in this area. Very remote section of the park because Heintooga Ridge Rd is only open seasonally from late May to sometime in October. And I've also been scared away from Poles Gap from various websites and guidebooks because they say the parking is extremely limited, maybe 3 cars. That always made me think that it was a very narrow, rocky area. But it was a wide turn with wide, grassy shoulders that was easy to park on. There were over 20 cars at the trailhead. So now I know in the future I can get here anytime during the day and park. So I hope you enjoy this hike. Looking forward to seeing the views from Hemphill Bald in a bit. When I think of Cataloochee Divide, this image pops into my head because until today I've never hiked it before, but I've seen a lot of videos and pictures of it, and it's basically a level, easy, beautiful trail along the top of the ridge through awesome hardwood forests along the eastern boundary of the national park, marked by these old split rail fences. Very cool scenery. The summit of Hemphill Bald is 5,556 feet in elevation. It is actually the second highest point on Cataloochee Divide. The highest point is immediately southwest, which is Little Bald Knob, just above 5,600 feet. The trail actually skirts that summit. There's a possibility I could bushwhack it on the way back because an old road leads very close to the top, but it is not high on my priority list. So I'll begin with the views due south of the Plott Balsam Mountains. This is a fantastic reverse angle of the view I got from the Mount Noble Lookout Tower last winter. The tallest peak, Water Rock Knob, is straight ahead, part of a double peak with Browning Knob on the right, or on the left, and then Yellowface is on the right, about 200 feet below Water Rock Knob in elevation. The crest continues towards the east to the rounded summit of Mount Lynn Lowry, and then the summit of Plott Balsam before dropping a lot towards Waynesville. Now looking southeast, that huge peak is Richland Balsam, the tallest in the Great Balsam Mountains. Due east, directly below Hemphill Bald, I think this is part of the Cataloochee ski area, just above Maggie Valley. I think this is one of only 2 ski mountains outside of the Boone Banner Elk area, the other being Wolf Laurel near Big Bald. To the east, mostly obscured by clouds, are the highest peaks in the Shining Rock Wilderness and the Middle Prong Wilderness. Can't really tell what is what of Black Balsam Knob and Mount Hardy, but I can see Cold Mountain clearly due east, and then the pyramidal summit of Mount Pisgah also to the east. Mount Pisgah is always really easy to pick out from many peaks around the western North Carolina mountains because of its shape and its 300-foot TV tower. It is very hazy today, so long distance views are not crystal clear, especially through the camera lens. On a clearer day, I should be able to see the Hickory Nut Mountains, including Bear Wallow Mountain and Little Pisgah to the east northeast. Maggie Valley is down below. I should also be able to see, on a clearer day, the Great Craggy Mountains and the Black Mountains to the northeast, but it's too hazy, unfortunately. I am seeing the tallest peaks in the Newfound Mountains straight ahead to the northeast, about 12 miles away. On the right is Crabtree Bald, and on the left is Sandy Mush Bald. To the north, across the Pigeon River Gorge, are the Bald Mountains. I can't see Max Patch from here, but the trail's going to continue northeast, and I believe I should get open views once I descend from the summit. On the marker, it says in the distance I should be able to see the Unica Mountains and the Roan Highlands in the far distant northeast. It says they're about 60 to 70 miles away. So in previous videos, when I say I may be able to see Mount Camerer and Sterling in the distance 60 to 70 to maybe 100 miles away, I'm partially correct half of the time. The view's even clearer from the base of this fenced easement. Now I can see Little Bald Knob. More open views of the Plott Balsams. Just less obstruction down here. Just beautiful. This is the National Geographic Great Smoky Mountains map for the entire park at the smaller scale, 1 in 70,000, but that's generally all you need for navigation in the park on the trails. I was mentioning quadrants earlier. In almost every guidebook, the quadrants are divided by Highway 441 north to south from Gatlinburg to Cherokee, and the Appalachian Trail east to west, generally along the state line. So I'm in the southeast quadrant. This is Heintooga Ridge Rd coming off the Blue Ridge Parkway, and I started at Poles Gap following the Hemphill Bald Trail, which eventually parallels the park boundary, and I'm currently at Hemphill Bald, and I may turn around now. I may continue down the mountain a little bit, go out to the swag and turn around. I'm a little bit slower than normal today. I've also been shooting a lot of video. This is the general outline of the region I'm hiking in today. Cataloochee Divide, Heintooga Ridge, and Mount Sterling Ridge form a gigantic horseshoe around the Cataloochee Valley and the Cataloochee Creek watershed. It's basically a parallel horseshoe to the Big Creek watershed, both directionally northeast, draining into the Pigeon River. At the base of Hemphill Bald, the Cataloochee Divide Trail where it meets the Hemphill Bald Trail, closely parallels developed trails and roads from the Cataloochee Ranch and the Swag Resort. And this is my turnaround point, Gooseberry Knob, an awesome cleared area above the resort with awesome views and some lounge chairs. I'm gonna go take a nice break. There's Hemphill Bald rising above the area. It's about 1.1, 1.2 miles from here, so really it's the climb that's going to get me, not the mileage. I'm about 5.6 from Poles Gap. Got a window view of the Plott Balsams. And there's Cataloochee Ski Mountain. Let's go check out the Northside. This is actually also Roger's Hideaway. Did not realize it was the same place. Oh, observation deck. Can't pass that up. Nice. Let me check this out and then I'll point some things out. Basically very similar views to Hemphill. You can still see Cold Mountain and Mount Pisgah towards the east. And now I can pick out the towers on Chambers Mountain in the middle of the view, which has a lookout tower. And I think those bigger peaks in the distance are the edges of the Great Craggy Mountains, maybe the Elk Mountains. Unfortunately, Purchase Knob and whatever this peak in the foreground is obscure the views north towards the Bald Mountains. But this is my first clear view of Purchase. Nice little rounded peak there up on the right. A lone flame azalea bush on Gooseberry Knob. I've been hearing that it's a bad year for Catawba rhododendron, but a good year for the flame azalea blooms. This is the parking lot for, I think, the Swag or maybe the Workers. And I went up to Gooseberry Knob and back, and I only saw a few old people milling around the main buildings and no one at Gooseberry Knob. Considering how many cars are here and it seems like there's a lot of people on the grounds, I'm just surprised I didn't run into anyone at the viewpoint. Wonder what everyone's doing. It's also like a little farm, little garden here too. The only person I've seen enjoying the day so far is the scarecrow. This is a Native American trail marking tree, or a tree that people falsely assume is a marking tree, because there's a lot of these bent trees in the mountains of varying ages. And the Cherokee have not dominated the state, unfortunately, for over a century. This is just off the Cataloochee Divide trail. This is one of the Swags or Cataloochee Resorts nature trails. I was going to take another short break on Hemphill Bald, but there's a gigantic group of novice backpackers there with their crap everywhere. But I get the reverse view of the ascent up Hemphill Bald. I mean, it's just beautiful. Even though it's overgrown, I don't care. So freaking beautiful descending the west side of the mountain. I'm really liking the reverse direction. It's a lot prettier. It is around 4:20 p.m. and I'm a couple hundred yards from Poles Gap, which means I'm about to finish my hike. In total, I've been on the trail for around 6 hours, a little bit longer than I expected, but I did take a 40-minute break on Hemphill Bald and hiked all the way out to Gooseberry Knob. But the mileage was also longer than the map and trail signs indicate. I was figuring it would be closer to 11 miles total, but my GPS is going to be around 12.5 miles. So those mileage markers are a little bit off, I believe, because I barely did any wandering today like I normally do. Otherwise, it was a fantastic hike. Really loved the views from Hemphill Bald. Gooseberry Knob was good too. Nice little out and back, but that wouldn't be my number one destination for this area. Unfortunately, something I was hoping for never came to fruition. I was hoping to get some northern views of Cataloochee Valley and Mount Sterling Ridge, but there never were any, and I doubt there are any from Purchase Gap either. Otherwise, I really enjoy the high elevation Hemphill Bald and Cataloochee Divide trails. In general, I really love the more remote eastern section of Great Smoky Mountains National Park because it has a lot of these high elevation ridgeline hikes like Mount Sterling Ridge and Balsam Mountain, and of course the Appalachian Trail, and much less foot traffic than you would get in the central Smokies around Highway 441. It rained off and on lightly on my way back. I think it's rained on every single one of my hikes for the last month or so, which is unusual even though it is summer. And I'm a little bit behind schedule, so I got to do a quick one up to Barnett Knob and then head over to Franklin so I can shower and get some food and beer before all those places close, because these small mountain towns, nothing stays open past 9 or 10 o'clock. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to have a short little video of Barnett Knob coming up. Otherwise, see you guys tomorrow for the big Klingman's Dome hike.